It was my father's 50th birthday. A black tie affair at the most expensive country club in the state. Crystal chandeliers. A live jazz band. Waiters in white gloves carrying silver trays of champagne. And me, standing in the corner in a blazer I'd bought on clearance, watching my new stepmother hold court like she'd been born into this life. I didn't belong there. She made sure I knew it. But what happened at that dinner, what she did to me in front of everyone, and what I said back to her when the laughter was at its loudest, it's the kind of moment that either destroys a family or saves it. For us, it did both. Let me start at the beginning. My mom died when I was 12. Ovarian cancer. It was the kind of slow, quiet agony that doesn't just take someone, it hollows out everything around them. For 8 years after that, it was just me and my dad. We weren't just father and son. We were survivors. A two-man army against grief. He worked double shifts to keep the house my mom had picked out. He never missed a single one of my cross-country meets. He taught me how to shave, how to change a tire, how to cook her famous spaghetti recipe even though his always came out too watery. He was my hero. So when I went away to college, I was worried about him. I called every night. He always said the same thing, "I'm fine, son." Keeping busy. I thought keeping busy meant fixing up the old Mustang in the garage. I was wrong. It meant he'd started going to a wine bar. It meant he'd met Vanessa. The first time I saw her was at a diner near campus. She was polished. Perfect blonde hair. Teeth so white they almost glowed. Clothes that cost more than my textbooks. She was nice to me, too nice. The kind of nice that feels like a transaction. She laughed at my jokes. She asked about my major. She touched my dad's arm a lot. And my dad? He looked alive for the first time in years. He glowed around her. So I ignored the little voice in my gut that said something was off. I wanted him to be happy. He deserved to be happy. They got married 6 months later. Small courthouse ceremony. I was the best man. I gave a toast about new chapters and second chances. Her 2 kids, Chad and Kelsey, stood in the back looking bored. They were younger than me. Spoiled. Used to getting whatever they wanted. To them, I wasn't a stepbrother. I was just the weird reminder that their new rich stepdad had a past. 2 years passed. I graduated college. Got a job as a junior architect. Nothing glamorous, but it was mine. I didn't go home much. Every time I visited, the house felt different. My mom's pictures started coming down. Her garden, the one she'd spent years cultivating, got ripped out and replaced with astroturf and decorative rocks. My dad's old record collection got moved to the garage to make room for Vanessa's home gym. My room became storage for Chad's gaming equipment. I was becoming a stranger in my own history. But I kept my mouth shut. For Dad. Then the invitation came. My father's 50th birthday. Vanessa was throwing him a surprise party at the estate at Oakhaven. A celebration of the man who gave us everything, the card said. Cocktail attire. Open bar. Guest list of 200 people. My dad called me, his voice thick with excitement. "Son, she's really outdone herself. This is going to be the night of our lives." I wanted to look sharp. For him. I spent my last bit of disposable income on a new blazer. Nothing fancy. But it was clean. I drove 3 hours home, rehearsing in my head how to be polite, how to navigate the minefield of passive-aggressive comments from Vanessa and her kids. I was determined to have a good time. For Dad. The country club was even more intimidating than I imagined. Valet parking. A fountain in the lobby. Crystal chandeliers everywhere. I walked in and saw my dad standing by the bar, laughing with my uncle, a glass of scotch in his hand. He looked so happy. Then Vanessa appeared at his side like a yacht pulling up to a dock. She air-kissed his cheek, whispered something in his ear, and he walked toward the stage to give a speech. "Thank you all for coming," he said. 50 years goes fast. And the last few years have been the best of my life. I have my beautiful wife, Vanessa, to thank for that. She saved me. She saved me. Those 2 words hit me like a punch to the gut. What was I? Chopped liver? I'd been saving him from loneliness for 8 years. But I shook it off. It was his night. Don't be petty. Dinner was served. Filet mignon. Truffle mashed potatoes. I hadn't eaten this well in months. I was seated at the kids' table with Chad, Kelsey, and a few of their snobby friends. My dad and Vanessa were at the head table with the important guests. It was fine. I was used to it. I was actually starting to relax. Then Vanessa stood up. She had that look, the one that said she was about to perform. She walked over to our table, the click of her heels echoing on the marble floor. She put a hand on my shoulder. Her grip was tight. "Sweetheart," she said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "we are so glad you could make it. We were worried you might not have anything appropriate to wear." I chuckled nervously. "Found something." She looked me up and down, her eyes lingering on my sleeve. "I can see that. Honey, is that the polyester? At your father's 50th? She let out a tinkling little laugh. "Oh, you poor thing. College budgets are so tight. Don't worry, for Christmas, Chad will send you his cast-offs. He has such good taste." Chad smirked. His friends snickered. Nearby tables started looking. My face burned. I looked toward the head table. My dad was talking to someone, oblivious. My grandparents were watching, my grandma's fork frozen halfway to her mouth. I tried to laugh it off. "Hey, at least it's not a tuxedo t-shirt." Vanessa tilted her head, pretending to be confused. "A tuxedo t-shirt? Is that what they wear too? What did you study again? Art history?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Well, it's a noble pursuit. Serving coffee to real architects must give you such inspiration for your little drawings." The table erupted. Laughter, loud, cruel, humiliating laughter. Kelsey was recording on her phone. Chad was wiping tears from his eyes. People from other tables were turning to look. And Vanessa just stood there, basking in it, the queen of the room, having publicly executed her stepson. I felt the tears coming. The heat. The shame. And then something inside me snapped. It wasn't anger. It was cold. Clear. Like a key turning in a lock. The fear was gone. The embarrassment was gone. All that was left was a quiet, devastating clarity. I thought about the invitation. A celebration of the man who gave us everything. I looked at her diamond earrings. I looked at Chad's watch. I looked at the new Mercedes key fob sticking out of Vanessa's clutch, sitting on the edge of our table. And I remembered the papers I'd accidentally seen on my dad's desk last Christmas. The deed transfers. The trusts for Chad and Kelsey. The nominal sum left for me. My inheritance, the future my mom and dad had built together, was being systematically transferred to this woman and her awful children. And they were laughing at my polyester blazer. The laughter was just starting to die down. Vanessa was about to turn and walk away, the victor. I opened my mouth. I didn't raise my voice. I just spoke. Calmly. Clearly. 7 words. "I hope the Mercedes was worth it, Vanessa." The silence was absolute. You could hear ice melting in glasses. The jazz band stopped playing. Every single person in that room was staring. Vanessa froze mid-turn. Slowly, she faced me. Her smile was gone. Her face was pale. What did you say? She whispered. I leaned forward, elbows on the table. The Mercedes. The G-Wagon. The pink one. You picked it up last Tuesday. I was just wondering if the trade-in value on my dad's self-respect was enough to cover the down payment, or if you had to finance the rest. Chad stood up. Shut up, you loser. I didn't even look at him. Oh, I'm sorry, Chad. How's that crypto portfolio your stepdad funded? Still in the green? He sat down. Kelsey stopped recording. Vanessa found her voice, a harsh, ugly hiss. You ungrateful little brat. Your father gave you everything. And this is how you repay him? By slandering me at his own party? I stood up. I was taller than her. I looked past her, directly at my father. I'm not slandering anyone. I'm asking a question. The same question everyone in this room is too polite to ask. I raised my voice. How did the manager of a wine bar afford a $4 million house, a country club membership, and a $500,000 car in less than 3 years? Murmurs rippled through the crowd. People were doing the math. My dad stood up from the head table. He walked toward us, his eyes wide. He wasn't looking at me with anger. He was looking at Vanessa with something I'd never seen before. Doubt. Vanessa? What is he talking about? The car is in your name? She spun around, panic in her eyes. Richard, honey, don't listen to him. He's jealous. He's trying to ruin your birthday because he can't stand to see you happy. I pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. Dad, I wasn't going to do this. I was going to let you be happy. But I can't watch her humiliate you like this. I tapped the screen. I have a friend in asset management. It's public record. The deed transfers. The liens on the house. The cash withdrawals from your joint account the same day she bought that car. My dad took the phone. He scrolled. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. The silence was agonizing. He looked up at Vanessa. And in that moment, the love in his eyes died. It was replaced by something cold. Hard. The look of a man who realizes he's been a fool. Get out, he said. What? Get out. Take your kids. Take your car. And leave. Now. She spluttered. Reached for his arm. He pulled away. She looked around the room for support, but everyone was looking at their plates, at the walls, anywhere but at her. She was utterly alone. She grabbed her clutch, spat one last venomous look at me, and stormed out. Chad and Kelsey scrambled after her like scolded puppies. The door slammed. Silence. But it was a different silence now. Not cruel. Peaceful. My dad walked over to me. He didn't say a word. He just pulled me into a hug, the kind of hug he hadn't given me since I was 12. The kind that says I'm sorry and thank you and I love you all at once. Behind us, my grandfather stood up and started clapping. Then my grandmother. Then my uncle. Then, one by one, the entire room rose to their feet, applauding. Not for me. For the truth. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. It was ugly. She tried to take him for everything, but the evidence I'd gathered, plus testimony from former friends who suddenly remembered things once the tide turned, limited the damage. He lost some money. But he got his life back. My dad and I are closer now than we've ever been. We're rebuilding. Not just the old Mustang in the garage, but our relationship. We talk about Mom now. We laugh about her burnt pancakes and her terrible singing voice. The ghost at the table is no longer a source of pain, it's a source of comfort. Vanessa got the Mercedes in the settlement. I hope she enjoys it. I hope she enjoys driving it while remembering the night a kid in a cheap polyester blazer looked her in the eye and, with 7 little words, took away everything that really mattered to her.